the joys of new filming and technology. Jesus fucking Christ. I lost my place. Hello. Welcome back for another edition of books that I read in a week. This week specifically is January 6th through 12th. Get yourself a beverage. This is like every supplement that I take just rolled into one because I can't be bothered to space it out. Grab a notebook for your own TBR. Get your comfy sexy on. For me, it's pretty much always a cardigan, and some athleisure, and get ready. Because I read a lot of books, or I finished a lot of books. If you're new to my what I read, it's not books that I started and finished. Often it's books that I started the previous week and am finishing this week. But yeah, there were a lot of books. Some of them physical, some of them so you'll get a combination of my e-reader and physical books. The first book that I finished was The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. Just look at this cover. Look at her. She's so beautiful. And this I'd had on my TBR for a while. I've had this book. I've heard great things, but it's because she's going to be at a book fest that I'm going to soon. So I finally got to push it up the TBR. This is a fake dating situation between Amerie and Vincent. Vincent is a literal astronaut. They're in Houston, and Amerie has just been let go from her job and broken up with by her longtime boyfriend. She runs into ex-boyfriend at a cafe who is there with his new girlfriend, and in order to not be shown up, she screams out the first person she sees that she knows, who is Vincent. They'd previously had a meet cute. She spilled coffee on him, and a few contentious, snarky conversations as well. What was supposed to be just, hey, show up my ex, I don't know you're an astronaut, you're just hot and here, turns into also fake dating for his family because his sister is there with him at the coffee shop, sees her, and he's been lying to his family about having a fake girlfriend, so the sister assumes that Amerie is the fake girlfriend. It is hysterical. I loved that. That double fake dating situation just spur of the moment and made me so happy. It gets even more complicated because he's preparing to go into space and she's starting her own event planning business after having been let go from the company she'd been working with. So for her, money feels very tight. And so he says, why don't you just live in my house? I'm gonna be in space in a few months. Rent-free, as long as you're my fake girlfriend. So they're now living together. And then as part of the fake dating for his family, she goes to the country house or their cabin for his mother's birthday anniversary. It's really funny. The thing about both of them is they're both dealing with expectations and complications from their parents. Amerie's mother has sickle cell anemia and has been battling with this disease her whole life. It's put a financial strain on the family. It's put a time strain on the family. So Amerie feels like her parents have never gotten to live, and she wants them to do the best things that they can in life because they've been dealing with this for so long. Vincent's family has another history. I won't necessarily go into it. It's caused his mom to have a lot of stress and anxiety around his job. She feels like being an astronaut is an unnecessary risk. She doesn't like it. She states explicitly that she doesn't want him to go to space. Explicitly, instead of being proud, instead of being excited, she's unkind. She's very reluctant to celebrate these milestones that he's hitting. And both of them, Amerie and Vincent, see the joy and the talent and the drive in the other and are so excited for each other. They actually make a great pairing. We're gonna go through my notes. If you don't know, I color code. There are 5 color codes here for like, meh, unnecessarily long description of a body part, clit stimulation during penetrative sex, and plot stuff that I need to know. I don't like it, I don't not like it, but I should know. Like the fact that he's an astronaut. Because sometimes I don't remember things. The reason I knew I would like this book right away is on page 2, there's this line. You can never know what someone is liable to do when deprived of coffee or poultry. I loved that. I laughed out loud, and that gave me the sense of this is going to be a good book. This was a moment I'm like, you're an idiot, but I'm committed. I can't backtrack. When she's about to fake date Vincent, she's already said, hey, I have a boyfriend. Oh, he's here. And she's like, I have no idea. There's no one in this coffee shop. Vincent literally walks in the door and she's like, hey, Vincent. I'm not going to go over plot stuff. I'm just going to go through my fun things. Oh, I'm going to save this for the podcast. But let's just say it's a yellow one. It's a body part. It's a good body part. I thought the dessert my mom texted me was sinful. Nice little moment of that. This is one of those moments when I realized how well suited they were for each other, because Vincent doesn't follow the patterns that Amerie expects him to. Probably patterns that she expects because of her ex-boyfriend. But when she's in a mood or when she has a reaction, she expects X from Vincent and he gives her Y. And she reacts with, as much as I appreciate a man who can put up with the worst of my moods, why can't he just be predictable? And I like that because it shows an understanding on Vincent's part, and because it prevents them from getting into unnecessary fights. She's also really understanding of Vincent and his moods, but I think she was just looking for a fight. This is just a really beautiful moment between the two of them. Vincent has shared something very hard for him. He is sad, and I love the way that Amerie hears this, sees this. Each question must be clear across my face. But Vincent turns to me, his eyes pleading that I do not push him on this. The hurt and irritation at being left in the dark fade, and what I feel for him is deep sorrow. I'm not entitled to the pain he's no doubt been through, and he doesn't owe me any explanations. But I do owe him my cooperation, so I nod and take his hand as he stands up. That transition from I want the questions to I'm just gonna let him be in his pain and be here for him is really important and was necessary in that moment. It struck me as beautiful. Oh, Vincent. The whole thing is from Amerie's point of view. I know it's all an act. I know this, but damn, be still my heart. Vincent hits every cue and knows all the right words. Not only does he call me beautiful, but with his eyes reflecting nothing but sincerity, I feel it. Now it's really too much. A brush against my leg gives me an excuse to look away. The brush was a dog. The dog came up to say hi. It's one of those, when the fake starts to become more real. This was a dumb decision where Amerie one-ups the fake dating. And I literally wrote, that's so dumb. Because she did it without consulting Vincent. So that got real complicated real fast. Oh, another moment of their cuteness. Vincent says, I like your hair down. In Amerie's mind, I don't need a man to validate my hair choices. I don't need a man to validate my hair choices. I don't need a man to validate my hair choices. My cheeks heat up from his compliment. Thank you. And I love that because she's right. She doesn't need a man to validate her hair choices. But I like how she took the compliment anyway because it's genuine appreciation. There are a lot of space puns because he's an astronaut. Our lips meet. Time stops. Gravity is gone. We're standing in the center of the universe and everything is spinning around us. Love the slow burn. Love the slow burn space pun. I don't love that there's no description of the sex. It's a paragraph. When I tell you it's a paragraph, it's like a paragraph. That one annoyed me. But he does use toys. I really loved this. I thought it was a great story, fake dating, light rom-com. While there's some heavier family stuff going around, emotionally, there's a lot of heaviness. In terms of their circumstances, it's not dire, it's not heavy. It is just as fun as this pink cover would let you believe it is. I love Like the Sun by Riss M. Nielsen. And this was another really sweet rom-com. It's also fake dating, but friends to lovers with mutual pining thrown in there. Let me just say that. There's also health stuff that's talked about in this book. So if you have a trigger of being gaslight by a medical professional, I would stay away from this novel because it's very prevalent and plays a big role in the plot. Laniah and Issac are best friends. They've been best friends since their preteens, when Issac moved in as a foster kid. No, 12. He was 12. When Issac moved in as a foster kid across the street from Laniah. They've been best friends ever since. And Issac is beautiful. Issac is so beautiful. He's an artist, he's an influencer, he's super famous living in LA, and she's still in their hometown. Her mom's made hair care products for years, and once Laniah finished with college, she convinced her mom to open a storefront with her, and it's going poorly. In fact, they are about to close the store, and Issac finds out and is absolutely furious at Laniah because she didn't tell him. There's a lot of Laniah pulling back communication and trying to distance herself from Issac because he lives so far away, because they're not connected in the same way that they were. And that plays a big role in this fake dating situation. He's someone who's been known in the social media world as someone who dates a lot, who dates with purpose, who doesn't mess around, and who puts his dating life out there. So he's dealing with some image issues after our relationship recently ended. So they end up fake dating so he can restore his reputation and so he can start promoting her business and get some income coming in. It's really important to him. So they go across, he comes and he visits and she goes to certain events, and there's just this beautiful pining longing between the two of them, and you can feel it. You're like, oh god, just kiss already. You're both so in love with the other that it's making me nuts. Another single POV story, I'm realizing. It's my third one, two, I did like 4 in a row. That's unusual for me. I do like a dual point of view. Things get more complicated with, number one, their feelings for each other. Do they cross the line of friendship into more, into attraction, whatever it is? And also, Laniah is dealing with some health stuff. She isn't feeling well. She talks to her doctor about it. Her doctor says it's nothing. And so we get this back and forth of what's really happening in her body and what's really happening in her mind. And it's sad and it's frustrating and it's unfortunately horrifyingly real. It's real that doctors do gaslight, especially women, and especially women of color. It is horribly unfair. And so what anyone, I hope, reading this book, besides the romance, which is sweet and adorable and fun and spicy, yay, is also trust yourself, because you're the one living in your body. And if it doesn't feel like your body is doing what it's supposed to do, and I don't just mean aging, like, oh no, I've got some neck wrinkles, but if your body isn't functioning properly, demand answers, because it's incredibly important. The biggest advocate you can have is yourself. It's gonna be you. It's a heavy thing. Laniah has a lot of emotional baggage going through. Her parents had this beautiful relationship, and her father died of heart disease, and it was a real slow, horrible decline where she watched him deteriorate. She watched her mom deal with her dad's deterioration, and while their love was so beautiful, the heartbreak afterwards has made Laniah not want that, is in fact afraid of that deep kind of love, because she's also afraid of that deep kind of hurt. And so that push back against what's brewing between her and Issac is real for her. It's dangerous to her heart and to her health. Oh, terrible nickname. I'm never going to be a fan of the nickname Baby. But Issac and I are not together. By the way, Issac fake dates without her permission. He posts a picture of the two of them on Instagram and is like, I'm here with my baby. Hence why I was like, oh, baby. I do like this when they're discussing the fake dating situation and Issac's trying to convince her to go along with it. Or maybe, Issac says, examining my face, that's what you're really afraid of. You're desperate to save the shop. I know it. So why are you hesitating? Do you think you'll fall for me like the heroine does the hero in your favorite books? I do. I feel like as a romance reader, I always get a little like, ooh, she's a romance reader like me, because narcissistic like that. He has a pet name for her, Nye, which I like, just because that's what you do with the best friend you've had since you were 12. Issac's attraction to her is very apparent early on, but until this moment, I wasn't sure if Laniah had it. And the friends to lovers where you've never had feelings for someone and then suddenly it changes, that annoys me. I don't love that. But something like this, but it's downright maddening when I've worked hard over the years to lock away any attraction that may have existed when I was younger. So she's admitting that she was attracted to him, is attracted to him, and has pushed that aside for what she calls the sake of their friendship. There is some lovely queer representation in the people around them, even though this is an MF couple. Okay, I will say this one. It's about a body part. Since when are his nipples sexy? I think nipples are always sexy. And this is a really big thing of Laniah keeps all of her problems to herself. You wait to tell me too many things, Nye, he says. I hope you break that habit for my sake. I don't want to be kept in the dark. Can you hazard a guess at what happens later? I forget even who said this, but you're infuriating sometimes and oblivious, the most oblivious human on the earth. And I believe it was to Laniah about Issac's feelings for her. They're getting ready to go to an event. This is when the flirt comes. I'm like, ooh, look at us crossing boundaries. You're not my daddy. He fixes the collar on his shirt, a hint of a smile crossing his lips. And if I don't know any better, I'd swear he was thinking, but I could be. This is so fucking slow burn and I hated it, but also you get some really good tension. I can almost taste the spearmint on his tongue when his eyes flick to my lips. I'm not imagining it this time. He wants to kiss me, but he must see the apprehension in my eyes, the fear of what a kiss could change between us, because he lets me go and shifts to look up at the sky again. I'm breathless when I turn onto my back, thinking my nerves sparked his own fears. Slow burn. She's snarky. She's mean. She gets mean when she's uncomfortable, and I do not appreciate that. Issac is like freaking out about something in a situation where someone is being really shitty to Laniah on the internet. And he says, we promised we'd end it if it got messy. Between Darius and how badly I want you, he trails off, eyes dark and hailing like it's torture to be this close and not have me. Doesn't he know I'm filled with need for him too? And my note was, no, because you're shit at expressing yourself. She is. My comment when they finally get together is such a slow burn. They are so in love with each other. Laniah is convinced. She's convinced that A, she's not worth it, and B, that if Issac is with her, he'll give something up and grow to resent her. What I think this book really left me with is the drive to know my own worth and to trust in those around me that if there's something that they don't want to deal with, a partner, a friend, anything, that they'll tell me. And making those assumptions and those decisions for other grown-ass adults isn't fair, isn't kind, and isn't who I want to be. And isn't who I don't want them to be. I don't want them to be like that. So that's kind of how I left. That's how I feel at the end of this book. So sweet. So good. My next book is an arc, and because of that, I can't read any quotes to you because it's still going through final edits, and it's entirely possible that the quotes that I have in my copy don't make it into the final version of this book. And so because of that, I'm not sharing quotes. I might share my notes when certain things happen, but that's all you're gonna get. This is My Best Friend's Honeymoon by Merrill Wilsner. I read their book Cute last year. Loved it. Super spicy. Sapphic is cute. This is FNB. F and non-binary. Two best friends. We have Ginny, who is non-binary, uses they them pronouns, isn't opposed to she, but refers to themselves with they them pronouns in their point of view, and so that's how I'm going to refer to them. And then Elsie, who is Ginny's best friend. They've been best friends since late elementary school, early middle school. Elsie is the youngest of 5 children and has kind of coasted. She goes along with whatever people expect of her. She's supposed to work at her parents' hardware store, so she does. She got a degree and doesn't really use it. She met a boy in college, and when he proposed at graduation while she was on stage, terrible move. If you're watching this, if you're someone thinking about proposing while someone else is graduating, I'm telling you now, don't do it. It's rude. You ruined her day. Anyway, Ginny and Elsie are endgame in this story. They absolutely are. What I really appreciated is that Derek, this ex-fiance, is not the bad guy. There's no harm. She's not running away from a terrible relationship. He doesn't treat her poorly. He's just an idiot and doesn't really get Elsie And to be fair, Elsie has never asked him to get her. So Derek, in an effort to be so sweet and wonderful and make it easier for Elsie, plans their wedding without her. The book starts with Derek showing Ginny the reception space and telling Ginny his plan. Ginny going, huh, cool. Elsie, when she's told the next day that she's apparently getting married in a week, goes, I can't do it. Like, it's such a sweet gesture. And I know for some people that is exactly what they would want. But for Elsie, her not planning the wedding wasn't, I'm really overwhelmed. Again, Elsie did a terrible job of expressing her own wants and needs, and that's something she learns in the story. It's a beautiful gesture for someone else, but it wasn't a beautiful gesture for Elsie. It just made her realize she has to shit or get off the pot. And she gets off the pot. She breaks up with Derek, who, in a very kind gesture, says, well, I can't refund our honeymoon to this resort, so you should go with Ginny, your best friend. Ginny's been in love with Elsie since they were teenagers. Ginny, in fact, asked her to a dance, and Elsie said no, and that almost ruined their friendship. But they made it through, and they're best friends. They have lunch together every day. They see each other all the time. They text constantly. Y'all, they're in love. They're in love. We know it. We all know it. Now, Elsie is also pansexual. Ginny only likes vulvas and is non-binary. While Derek is the only person that Elsie's ever been with, Derek is very supportive of Elsie's sexuality and so booked their honeymoon at a queer resort because he doesn't want her to feel like he doesn't accept her and that she's valid as a pansexual person. It's, again, he's not the bad guy. And I really appreciated that. Meryl didn't make this running from a terrible relationship and instead made it running to the right relationship. So anyway, one of Ginny's things about this honeymoon is Elsie can do whatever she wants as long as Elsie asks for it, because Elsie is terrible about asking for what she wants. And so Ginny's like, I'm game for whatever you want as long as you say it. I'm not going to make any assumptions. That's how they get to do things like snorkeling and hiking to a beautiful waterfall. And while they're there, both of them in their respective POV chapters are just like, oh my God, the other one is so hot. I don't know if they're aware of what they do to me, but I love them so much. I'm so attracted. Well, in Ginny's case, it's I love her so much. And in Elsie's case, I'm so attracted. And so at some point, they have a really heated dinner where Elsie suggestively says, what if the thing that I want would ruin our friendship? They don't talk about it. By the way, they're in the honeymoon suite, so they're sharing one bed. And then the next day, Elsie wakes up, rolls over on to Ginny and goes, I want you to fuck me. It's one way to handle it. And then this becomes a spice fest. Like a knockdown, drag out spice fest between Ginny and Elsie. And I was all here for it. Was there plot? I don't know. There was too much spicing for me to notice if anything else happened over those. And that's a lie. The thing about the spice is there was so much of it, and it was good spice, and it was very descriptive spice, and it was varied spice, and I was very happy with it. It felt like an extension of their friendship. Their trust, their willingness to be vulnerable with one another was expressed as well while they were being intimate. So they tried new things between both of them. Elsie, who's never been with anyone but Derek, and Ginny, who has been with other humans, but certainly not Elsie, both got to try things and ask for things and experience new things with one another, besides just being together. The complication comes with, what are we actually going to do? Meryl Wilsner did a great job with making a distinction, and I think it's important that friendship and dating, they're different. And even if you have a solid friendship, there are things that have to change to form a solid relationship. And while they had that solid friendship, it wasn't exactly what they needed for it to transition into a relationship right away. So I'm going to totally spoil the shit out of this. Well, there's a third act, you know what, and I agree with it. I agree. Because how they acted as friends isn't isn't going to work for a real relationship. Because as friends, they held themselves back. As friends, they weren't building a life together. As friends, it wouldn't have worked to just add in intimacy. And so taking time apart from this friendship that they have, that is all-consuming. It is an all-consuming friendship. Really was necessary for them to transform it into what it needed to be at the end of this. I'm gonna go through my notes because I can't share quotes with you. Oh, this note is, whoa. It's on page like 3. Oh, body rep. I forgot to mention that Ginny is plus size. Ginny is tiny and plus size and I love it. But Meryl did a great job also with sharing what it's like to be in a plus size body with no judgment. So talking about how when they're on the plane, Ginny has a seatbelt extender, and when she gets to sit with Elsie, they pull the armrest up so she's not squished into the teeny tiny airplane seats. And it wasn't in judgment and it wasn't in a body hating way. This is how a human who lives in this body exists in this world. Whether or not you think that's fair is a totally different discussion. She wants Ginny. Kids are awful. This was a flashback for Elsie. Kids are horrible. No, thank you. Oh, okay, I guess I'm wrong. Ginny knew they were a lesbian before they knew they were non-binary. So Ginny is a lesbian and non-binary. Thank you. So sorry. There's some really good moments. Y'all are gonna freak out when you read this. There was a little bit of an overreaction at the end of the honeymoon. Not okay with it. I have you're wrong. It just ended really, really sweetly. This book doesn't come out until April 29th is what I have in my notes. So be on the lookout, go pre-order, reserve it from your library, whatever it is that you're going to do, because if you're looking for an NBF story or something with 2 vulvas or a best friends to lovers situation, this one was great. Oh man, and it was so, I really can't, I don't know if I properly expressed how spicy the honeymoon was. Like it was like they took a decade and a bit of longing into those 4 days of this honeymoon. I got an arc of a book that I knew was book 2. I didn't realize you really do need to read book 1. And the series is by Cleo Evans. It's called the Citrus Cove series. It starts with Broken Beginning. I got the arc for Stolen Chances. Thought it's an interconnected standalone, but usually you have to read the first book in order to get to the second. So once I was a chapter or 2 into the second book and realized I need to know what happened in that first book, I got the first book. So this is Broken Beginnings. It is a loathe to love, reformed bully, small town romantic suspense. This is also the moment when I think I might be entering my romantic suspense era, because when I tell you I inhaled both of these books and I had the most fun. What I think really made it great for me is that the suspense happens outside of their relationship. Their relationship is fine, or the people in these stories, it's not the suspense within their relationship, it's something really crazy is happening around them. So Haley is the FMC, and she grew up in this small town. She was bullied by Cameron. When she graduated, she left. She's a travel writer living in Baltimore, very successful, and walks in one night to a neighbor being murdered. And as the murderer escapes, he says to her, "You're next." And it's so traumatic, and she holds her neighbor while her neighbor breathes her last and is terrified and, can't get out of bed and realizes, I have to escape. I feel like I'm being hunted, and goes back to her small town in Texas, where she runs into Cameron, the bully, who has all grown up, and not that it's justified in any way, shape, or form, but he knows it. He really understands that he effed up back in the day, back in high school, but he liked her and didn't know how to. It's terrible. No, there are no excuses for it. I do not excuse his behavior at all. Shouldn't have done it. Bad choice. Bad news bears. But I will say he has reformed, understands how badly he fucked up, and is not that kid anymore. She's back in town. They run into each other. Her grandmother, who they call Honey, everybody in the town tries to weirdly set them up, including Colt, Cameron's best friend. And there is a deep attraction, but absolutely hardcore attraction between the two of them. Haley's back there and she decides, well, I need stuff to occupy my time while I'm kind of off work and just living in this small town. So she agrees to bartend at his winery, which is blowing up and needs more hands. But of course the suspense part comes and the stalker comes to find her and people are assaulted and things are destroyed and chaos ensues around them. And in the midst of it is Haley and Cameron just not only trying to build a relationship, but trying to keep Haley alive, literally alive from this stalker who has said you're next. The police in this town are useless, but is a useless sheriff. Cameron is kinky. Can I put that out there? Cameron is kinky. There's a really great, I can actually say the quote when I get there, but something like, you wouldn't expect a farm boy from Hicksville to like be a dom, would you? And the answer is no. I myself was not expecting that. I should, because it's Cleo Evans, but I've only read her monster and alien stuff, so I wasn't really sure what to expect from a full story, and the answer was greatness. It was great. I really liked it. It is suspenseful. It's not dark romance. It's morally gray for me. I don't even think Cameron and Haley are morally gray. I think romantic suspense is the correct word for it, but apparently I'm entering my romantic suspense era because I loved this book and I loved the next one. Let me go through my notes for this book first. And this is like, at least you know it. So this is from Cameron. That time in my life was a sore wound. I bullied Haley because I was a moron. My mama raised me better. Apparently not. But I'd been an idiot. More than an idiot, I'd been an asshole. My comment was, at least you know it. Oh, back then, Haley somehow became the girl I pined over, but instead of self-reflecting, I did stupid things. It pained me looking back. If I could go back in time and punch myself, I would. I'd knock myself clean out. Hell, Hunter had done so at least once. Yeah, you were an idiot. You don't deserve her. Like, that kid did not deserve her, which is important. Giving gifts and being prepared for anything were two of my love languages. I do like that line. He grovels well. He like gets on his knees, and there's an incident at a party in high school where he poured a beer on her. Again, horrible asshole. And so they're with a bunch of friends and he lets her pour a beer on him. He goes, no, I'm not going to change. I'm going to wear this. What is it? I'm going to wear this beer proudly the rest of the night. Fuck, I'd really just done that. Let me get you a towel, I said. No, he said, wiping his eyes. I am dead serious. Badge of honor. Not bad, sir. I appreciate that. They have an exchange, and I immediately went, are these nicknames sticking? They do. Show me the ropes, cowboy. As you wish, sunshine. And those are the nicknames that stick. Cowboy and sunshine, which I like. So if you want to know what he says about his kinks, I love spanking. I love playing with things like blindfolds, handcuffs, any sort of restraint. And I've taken classes on how to do it properly so no one is harmed. Good job, you. I enjoy fucking outside. The idea of taking you tomorrow at our picnic is going to keep me up tonight. And I love eating pussy. I fucking love it. I'd die between a woman's thighs happily. Woo! Yes, sir. Her response, I didn't think. Think what? That a country boy could be kinky? Yes, exactly that. I leaned back in the booth studying her. More than you can imagine, sunshine. I might be easygoing, but I'll put you on your knees and make you beg for my cock like a good girl any day of the week. But only if you want to. She wants to. Or maybe Haley was my kink. Oh, I have some notes about like book 3, who I think book 3 is going to be about. There are a lot of good girls. Have that note. The one thing I'm happy about, in the Creature Cafe series, there is an absence of lube, and I worry for that. There is not an absence here. There is plenty of it. Is she about to be kidnapped? Hold on, here's the line that I wrote that on. How's Haley? You could have brought her with you. I don't like the idea of her being alone. Pops will be down soon. 2. I kissed the top of my mom's head. She's all good. She's asleep at the house. She's a trooper. And my note was, is she about to be kidnapped? Because I'm annoying like that. That's all I have there. So I'm going to go right into Stolen Chances, which is actually an MMF novel. Stolen Chances, this happens about 6 months or so after the events of the first book. But the events of the first book play heavily into the plot of this story. So you really cannot read Stolen Chances without reading Broken Beginnings. It will not make sense. I might ruin some more things. I'm going to try not to because, it's romantic suspense. I can't tell you who the bad person is in the first book. when I'm talking about the second. But these characters are interconnected. Sarah, Colt, and Sammy. Colt is Cam from the first book's best friend. Sammy is his little brother. Sarah is Haley's sister. So it's very not incestuous, but kind of between the two of them, between the two books. And I have a feeling I know who book 3 is going to be about. So they are all dealing with the aftermath of what happened in the first book. And there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of sadness and there are some legal things that are going on because stalker, murderer, dealing with Haley came to a small town. Small towns gossip a lot. So what we find out in this book, and we kind of knew in the first book, is that Colt and Sarah had a history in high school. We thought they were going to date. They didn't end up together. Colt has been in love with her the whole time. And Sarah has kind of always thought of him as the one who got away. And the book actually starts with, I can't actually say that. What if it changes? Because of the events of the first book, Sarah, who was married to a man named David, is in the process of divorcing him. It's bad. David was also bad news bears. Bad news bears. Like neglectful, verbally abusive, not physically abusive, but absolutely trash. And so she's pulling herself up by the bootstraps to get her and her twin boys out of that situation and on with their life. She's living in a house that Haley owns with Haley's best friend, Emma. Colt kind of shows up. He's been very protective of her. We see that in the first book. They have all these unresolved feelings about what happened back in high school that drove them apart. They never officially dated, but they kind of always longed for each other. Colt is in business with Cam. They own the winery together, and he makes the wine and brews cider for this business. Sammy is the youngest of the Harlow brothers. He is a musician as well as a cooking thirst trap influencer human. He's super tall also. He's like 6'5". And Colt is bisexual, openly bisexual. He was kicked out of his house when he came out to his dad. So if that is a trigger for you, please be forewarned. Sammy is aware that he's bi or pan. I believe it's pan, but he's never come out. He's only ever dated women. You know, suddenly Sarah is not taken. She is single, and he develops a crush on Sarah. We also see Colt and Sammy kind of eye each other as this story progresses. And so the story is the three of them getting together. It's a poly situation, and it's MMF where everybody's dating each other. All three of them are together in all the various forms of that. There is another romantic suspense. So someone starts messing with Sarah, cuts a line in her car, someone breaks into Sammy's apartment and destroys all his stuff. So they're dealing with another situation of stalking, of violence that the police are apparently incapable of handling. Like, if the theme of this is that the police are completely useless, that seems to be the theme of this small town. And they're also figuring out how they evolve this relationship amongst the three of them. Polyamory is complicated. There's a lot of stigma around it. And they're in a small town that's dealing with a lot of drama around them anyway. So do they really want to add this? How will her boys handle it? It's great. Just, like, I loved it. And it's spicy, and it's all the configurations that I want it to be. I'm just gonna tell you, so currently, one of my favorite moments is two people are making out. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, it's Colt and Sammy are making out. It's the first time they've ever kissed, and Cam walks in on it. And I was like, whoa, was not expecting this to be revealed to everyone the minute it happened. And I loved it, and that was exactly what I needed. There are some great nicknames. Kink runs in the family because Sammy's got a closet full of kink stuff. Sammy, the youngest of them, is a dom. Colt is a switch. And Sarah is just along for the ride. And ride she does. That was one thing I didn't expect. If you've apparently not been intimate with your husband for many, many years, you would not go into DVP the first time you're intimate with someone new. And that part threw me. I was like, such a great idea. I feel like in practice that would not work. So suspend your disbelief for those kinds of things. There's a lot of body worship. Like, Sarah has her own issues because of her horrible ex-husband giving her body issues and telling her she's not sexy and all of that stuff. If you like it when a gentleman comes in his pants while eating someone out, this book is for you. I can't even read you the quote. It's really upsetting. Oh, someone's pierced. There's a really good conversation about sexual health and STD testing, and Sammy and Colt actually go get tested together, which I think is awesome. Nellie Wilson, you told me about that. This is my reaction. Really? When she hasn't had sex in years? Oh man, kink stuff. With Cleo Evans, you're pretty much always gonna get some kink. Like, I don't know if I've ever read anything by Cleo Evans. That was just vanilla. It's not, I don't think that it happens. There are also some good girls. You need to read this. If you have romantic suspense books that you love, please send them to me because I loved these so much and I'm now really excited for the third one too. Did they kill him? Is one of my notes. If that explains anything to you. I loved it. Next was another physical book. I know, I'm really working on it. Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. This is by Emma R. Albin. She is another author who's going to be at a conference. There are 2 books in the series. It wasn't a disappointment, but it felt really YA. It is a historical queer awakening story between Beth and Gwen. Gwen has been out for a number of years. Her mother died in childbirth. She is besties with her dad. Her dad is totally fine with her not having a husband. He has a title. They have money. It's fine. Beth, her father just recently died. He had a horrible marriage with her mother. He was verbally and physically abusive. She's the only child, and she did not inherit. It went to an uncle who's throwing them out. And so this season, scraped together with all the money that her mother could access, is her only chance to find a spouse who will support both of them, Beth and her mother. We find out that Beth's mom and Gwen's dad had a history. They were in love, but Gwen's dad wasn't in line to inherit when they were friends, and so Beth's mom could not marry him, and both of them were heartbroken. These ladies, as they're figuring out their own attraction with each other, decide to parent trap their parents and get them together. And honestly, their parents' story was a lot more interesting than the 2 of them. Yes, there's an attraction and they have people around them who were supportive and kind and totally okay with them being in love with one another. And they were kind of boring and young and dumb. And even the intimacy was like, oh, that's all we got? I get it if this is really YA. You didn't even need intimacy. If this is an adult, like, can we be adults? They're trying to figure out how they build a life together because they can't get married. And even though it's not illegal for 2 women to be together and, you know, they can be companions, it's just complicated. It was a bit of a slog for me, to be fair. So there's a second book that they set up at the end of this book. I don't know. I'm not rushing. I have it. It's right here. You're the Problem, It's You. I don't know, like, if you've read this, like, tell me if this feels more adult than this, because honestly, my favorite part of this book was the parents, and these 2 seem to set up the shenanigans in this book, and I'm like, but you're bad at it. You're bad at the shenanigans. And they talk about hoop skirts a lot. Emma mentions hoop skirts constantly, and while I'm sure the hoop skirts are not easy to maneuver in, I don't need to be reminded every time they're out that hoop skirts are a pain. It takes me out of the story. I'm like, why are you mentioning it again? This is a dumb moment. This is why I'm like, you're both so dumb. So her dad's known as a bit of a rake. Oh no, this is Beth. And they're talking about Gwen's dad because they've met, and his mother goes, since her death, his late wife's, he's gotten to know half of London's women biblically. And Beth later on the page goes, I doubt he's really bedded half of London, she says in lackluster defense. It's not as if he could fall in love with that many women. That's the only reason to bed someone. And her mother's response, I adore that you think that. Beth does end up engaged to a very sweet boy whose father's trash. Honestly, Lord Monson does not deserve the jilting, like the drama of this story, because he is nothing but kind and sweet to Beth. She's talking about how she always wanted a treehouse and her dad never let her. We could do it on mine, Lord Monson says. Beth looks up at him surprised. Oh, I can think of a few good spots. Would be nice for the children. Like, it's so sweet. If only she was attracted to men. What I really liked is when Gwen is dealing with her feelings about Beth, her dad is so supportive with open arms. There are two women who work for them. It's an unknown secret that they are together. Her dad says, oh, can you take the dishes into the kitchen, and walks in on them making out, which her dad probably knew about. And so her response is, does father think she's so inclined? I'm like, does father think that she feels that she wants that with Beth? And I love that. It's just a very sweet moment. I think of a father, without explicitly saying anything, sharing like, this is okay and this is normal, and I support you, and that's okay in my house. Both parents are so supportive of the queerness, even though on Beth's part, like there's sacrifices and circumstances that prevent her mom from saying, yeah, go be queer, because they need money and they have life stuff. I'm so mad. I read the word hiss as kiss, and then I got really disappointed, but it's okay. On the next page they did. This is what it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Swoony and bright and everything. And it's a good contrast, because just a few pages before, Lord Monson had just like smooched her and she was like, what? I don't like that. Beth feels some of her hesitation melt away. This is easy, familiar. Planning hijinks with Gwen, even with all the kissing. It wasn't kissing. They're still friends. At the very least, whatever else, they're still friends. That's kind of cute. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. The kissing. They hadn't done anything yet. She's invited Beth to spend the night. Oh God, but what does that mean? They're just so ignorant, and it's very frustrating. Even in their one intimate moment, like, how do they know what they're doing? I don't get it. I love her dad. There can be more space in a marriage. You'll remain friends. He'll have to spend much of his time in London, and when he does, you can visit Beth in the country. It's normal for ladies to have companions. You'll see her more than you think. They're both trying, even Beth's mom, is their separate parents are trying to reassure them that just because Beth has to marry this guy, it's not the end of their friendship or even relationship. But I like this part, and Gwen kind of throws it back in his face about Beth's mom, Lady Demeroven. She goes, would you do it? She wonders. Father blinks. What? If Lady Demeroven had married her husband and kept you on as a companion, to visit and lie with her when he was away, would you have done it? And skip. No, her father says softly. Then don't ask me to, Gwen says, pulling from his hold. I like that. Like, it's real. Like, okay, you're two women, but like, you're asking me to do something that you never would do yourself. So don't do that. My note. Why are we talking about their skirts constantly? Okay, they're talking about Beth's fiance's dad. She wonders if he's poorly endowed. What else could make a man so rich this pompous? The book in general felt very lackluster to me. It was a bit of a slog to get through. The parent trapping of this is the most exciting part. The two of their relationship, it wasn't very exciting. It felt YA. They're like 16. They're so young that of course it feels YA, but it was like it's like a YA book trying to be adult, and it's not. And so I do wonder if the second book is more my speed, because this one just did not hit the mark for me. The last book that I read is Take Me Home by Melanie Sweeney. This is a not even second chance, but they knew each other in high school. Forced proximity, loath to love situation between Hazel and Ash. Hazel and Ash went to high school together. Hazel dated Ash's best friend their senior year. They ended up going to the same college together. Hazel was determined to separate herself from her hometown completely. And it wasn't until grad school, now, 4 years, or, now, that they've kind of reconnected-ish. He works at the coffee shop that she frequents as a grad student. It's a little bit further away from school, and so undergrads don't go there, and she needs that space. So they see each other, they banter, they have this weird thing. Her parents divorced when she was young. Her mom left. She was raised by her dad, and she's never gone back to her hometown since she graduated high school, which also should tell you how Hazel does well with endings and separations and continuing relationships once the time physically together has passed. Not very well. So her dad is getting remarried on Christmas. I have a lot of feelings about that. It's the first time that she's actually been invited her dad has never said you should come home. And so she feels obligated to go and meet this woman she's never met with her kids who she's never met for her dad's second wedding, which she doesn't mind that he's getting married. It's just a weird situation overall. Ash is trying to get home to see his family. His dad has MS. He's not in active deterioration, but he had a fall at Thanksgiving when Ash didn't go back, broke his hip, and had surgery. And so he's very concerned for his family. Ash has taken on a lot of responsibility for his family, this like I'm the man of the household feeling, even though that's not what anyone needs from him. And his car broke down. The story really begins with the two of them deciding, or Hazel finally giving in and offering a ride to Ash from one side of Texas to the other. It's like an 8-hour drive. There's also a snowstorm. They get snowed in at an inn where they have to cuddle in one bed for warmth, and nothing happens. So it's also a bit of a slow burn. Hazel feels not compelled, but free to share things with Ash that she doesn't normally share. She tells him her actual feelings, wants, and needs, and Ash just soaks it up because he's been secretly in love with her since high school. No one saw that one coming, of course. They work well together, and in order to get out of family stuff, Hazel says, well, I'm going to see a friend. Lies about the friends, but ends up just calling Ash. And so they spend a lot of time together, even after they're back in their hometown. Ash's feelings develop. Hazel's attraction ramps up. They share this intimacy. I gotta say, it was every awkward moment you could think of rolled into one book. So it really had me on edge the whole time of what dumb decision are you about to make next? What horrible thing is going to come out of your mouth? What ridiculous lie are you going to come up with next? In general, these situations were rectified very quickly. It was a fast-paced book. But it didn't make for a cozy, comfy read. It made me think, oh God, what's going on? Her dad didn't communicate with her that she needed a dress for the wedding. Her dad is like really just not great. She's invited to he's a weatherman, but he was invited to the station's holiday party and didn't tell them that she's coming. So there's no table setting for her with him. Feels like he erased her from his life. It's super awkward. And then with Ash's family, his sisters are a lot. It was really Hazel for me. It wasn't an enjoyable experience. Maybe you love the awkward. Maybe you love it when people make bad decisions and you get to scream at them on the page like, no, what were you thinking? It's gonna bite you in the ass immediately. But that is not my favorite experience. I'm going into my quotes. But right away, we know that there's like banter and fun because Cammie is the owner of the cafe where Ash works and Hazel studies. Cammie raised an equally loaded eyebrow. I'm not sure if this is a nerd thing, a white people thing, or a straight thing, but it's the strangest flirting I've ever witnessed. And I just wrote, ha 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 ha. Ash's full attention was a lot. Somewhere between studious and serial killery. So there's some good banter and fun. This was one of those moments. Hazel forgot her father's strange request for soup until she was already driving past the last grocery store before his neighborhood. And I'm thinking to myself, rude. You could have stopped. You just could have turned around and gotten soup. But the note is, rude. I'm also afraid there's going to be a bunch of awkward. It turns out her dad now lives in a neighborhood that, not his house, but like other houses do crazy lights. And so the fee to get into the neighborhood enforced by policemen is donations of non-perishable food or clothing. Another moment of like her dad being ridiculous is like he sent information via email during finals week with very little explanation. The fiance was like, oh yeah, all of us have our cranberry dresses. And she's like, what are you talking about? For the wedding, for photos. The email said something like, I should have actually looked at what this said. All the ladies have cranberry dresses. Not, hey, you need to go get one. A lot of the blame goes on her dad for like putting her in these really awkward situations of not knowing what's happening and not being included in the family events because she didn't know what was happening. And these invitations aren't being explicitly given to her. And this is where Hazel's issues come in, but she was getting too comfortable with him trying to ease the weight of things for her. If she kept letting him, one day she'd be used to him being there, offering a hand, lifting the other side of a heavy tree, putting his coat around her shoulders. If she got used to it and then he disappeared, it'd be so much harder to reset then continue on as she always had. Girl, you have some issues. Ash's attraction to her is clear to anyone around. So when they run into two people he knows from their town, they all go to a bar. One of the guys is trying to, you know, share, like, here's how you get her, here's how you make the next move in a bar. And there's a dartboard. And so he's like, you should teach her how to play darts. Ash's response is, just so we're clear, your brilliant advice is to mansplain darts to her. Revolutionary. Truly. I loved it. And then it actually fucking works. Somewhere in the shadows, Travis was probably laughing his ass off, but Ash decided to go with it anyway. He'd seen enough rom-coms to know how this part was supposed to go. Shut up and turn around. And she also knows, she goes, she knew what he was doing, and he felt borderline stupid. But I love that they just let this moment play out, this rom-com moment. He's so sweet. What was I supposed to say, Hazel? That I'm so fucking gone on you? I'm already dreading the end of this trip? When we go back to regular life and coffee is the only thing you'll need from me? He's so in love with her. They finally hook up. It is a slowish burn. He goes, he tried the clasp at the... like, oh, fumbling fingers. He tried the clasp at her back for 2 seconds before giving up, hooking his fingers into one cup and tugging it down. At the end of this, there's a lot of why, how, when, wherefore. It was cute, but it's not, I want this book in my life kind of cute. It's not a bad thing. There's nothing, like, inherently wrong with this story. But in terms of, like, ooh, this makes me want to read it again, there was too much awkward. There were too many odd scenarios. It wasn't comfortable. I do like how Hazel learned how to ask for what she needs and express herself better and overcome this fear of, well, when people leave, they're just out of my life. She runs into a friend from high school that she had lost touch with. That's the first time she's seen her since high school, and what she thought would be terrible and no fun and this friend would hate her, they have a great time and they reconnect, and she realizes that she missed out on all of this time with a friend, and this is a pattern in her life. The end of this book is satisfactory. I liked them. The dynamic that they built between the two of them was fun. Once Hazel and Ash just got the chance to be themselves with each other, with no secrets, with an understanding that they both like each other and they want to move forward, it was a good read. The path that got us there was not always fun to experience. It's my first book by Melanie Sweeney. It didn't thrill me. This is a holiday book. Like, this takes place at Christmas. There's a whole Christmas tree getting situation that they go through. So if you're looking for a Christmas book that isn't marketed as a Christmas book or with Christmas in it, it's really Christmas. And I think that surprised me how much Christmas was in this book, considering the cover doesn't look like it. There's no punny name. I think it came out in the summer, so it just was separate from my awareness of Christmas books. That's the end of this week of what I read. I hope that you enjoyed this time together. If you have suggestions, put them in the comments. Let me know what you think I should read and come back next time for what I read the next week. Until next time, this is Jace holding space for you. Do you need a sip of water? Do you need a sip of whatever you're drinking?